Hi, welcome to I Tried to Eat My Phone. I'm Karen Jaworski and always joined by Mike and Todd from Chicago. And
That's me.
Hey.
hey. I would like to give a quick shout out to it's going to be at the front end of this podcast, but
That's
a
kid's
friend
term,
of
the shout
my
out.
family.
The shout out.
Yeah, the shout out. Yes.
For those boomers in the audience, that means she's going to say something to someone or about someone, usually complimentary. We're not sure.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see. Now that I stepped all over it, let's go back to Karen.
Well, yeah, I thought you were going to give the whole dictionary breakdown.
Yeah. I like to just jam a wedge right into your nice statement. Sorry.
We want to thank Ron Crawford. He's a good friend of my family and an amazing artist. And you can find him. I will put the website for Ron on our YouTube and Facebook, but it's roncrawfordart.com. And he made a great caricature sketch of the three of us that I feel is fairly darn accurate, given our personalities.
Really cool. Really cool.
So
I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and that drawing he did of Wrigley Field too was, I mean, when we saw that, we're like, oh my gosh, that's like looking at the ballpark from our backyard, our old backyard.
Ron, if you're listening,
Yes.
it literally looks like you were like out, like on our balcony looking out. I think Ron's been to a party at our old, maybe he was at a party in the 90s. He was at a Bush Light party in Wrigleyville on Wilton.
Yes. I forgot to look it up. Ron is going to be in a series on, I'll look it up for next time, or I'll put it on the notes, but he acts too. He's a pretty interesting guy. He was a stand-in
Ron,
for
let's spread the talent around a little bit. You can't take it all.
Yeah, he was a stand-in for Paul Newman on the movie Nobody's Fool years ago, and he's played Mark Twain several times. So if you see his image, his likeness, you'll understand why. But if you live in New York, Evanston, Chicago, you should check out his artwork because he has great drawings of Wrigley, of the Evanston area, and lots of places in New York. He's got some great pictures of the Bean in Chicago on there too, and excellent artist. So thank you, Ron, for doing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
He's known me since I
you,
was
Ron.
about 5 years old. So yeah.
He's like nice, talented. He's an actor. He's an artist. Come on. What else?
I know. Seriously.
Is he funny too? Let's just come on.
Yes.
Is he a podcaster?
Yeah.
No, he's just acting in movies and shows.
You should have him on as a guest.
Yeah, that would be fun. Oh, I love that.
He's a brilliant artist. It's very amazing.
No,
thank
good.
You, Ron.
So thank you, Ron, for that. Anyway, how are you guys? What's been going on out there?
Good.
Besides snow, huh?
It's snowing. Yeah. That's what anyone you ask in Chicago. What's going on? Snowing.
Yeah. We got 5 inches of snow.
Snowing. That's all we can talk about in January in Chicago is the weather. The Bears are done. Sorry, Mikey, but the Bears are done.
Well, and especially now, right? We got, there's nowhere to go and nothing to do. So, we just go out and shovel snow or snow blow it.
Mikey, did you snowblow? Are you a snowblower or are you shovel?
Do you have a snowblower?
I have this like massive snowblower. It's awesome. It's like industrial size. My father-in-law
blow
gave
it like
me
onto the
snowblower.
neighbors, like under the neighbors.
No, totally. Yeah. So I was blowing it like, across the street. I mean, it was so fun. I just like cranking the snow off the driveway. It was awesome. Yeah. My father-in-law gave it to me like 2.5 years ago. And I've used it like 3 times in 2.5 years because we just haven't had big storms.
No, last 2 winters have been mild.
Yeah, right. They've been pretty mild.
Yeah.
No heavy snowstorms. So anything over like 2 inches, I get the thing out and crank it up.
You've been jonesing to use it. You're like watching the snow.
Totally.
You're like, what do you think? Is like a half inch enough to like burn 6 gallons
Come
of
on.
I was contemplating like using it as part of my Halloween decorations as well. I was like, because this thing is huge. I mean, it is literally like 4 feet wide and it's super tall and you got like 2 handles on it. I mean,
this thing sounds like an accident waiting to happen. I love it. Just like it would take out a mailbox, like just chew up a mailbox.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I think it absolutely would.
It's not approved anymore. This is like the only thing you have to get this in like the 90s because like they probably don't make those anymore. Like, yeah, that's with the really sharp blades that go super fast and are open to the general air. They don't do
it's
those
not
anymore.
Exactly street legal.
And I know your father-in-law, he probably tuned it up. I took the governor off this thing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Take it. Don't hold it in one place too long. I'm going to chew up the asphalt.
I texted him like after I cleared the driveway and I'm like, I haven't had this thing out in months and 2 poles. I had it going and that was done in like 5 minutes. Just cranked through 5 inches like it was nothing.
You're going to get some calls from the neighbors. The neighbors are going to have you over. Mikey, what are you doing? Come on over.
I know, right? Hey, I'm going to make some friends after they. Yeah. I mean, when we had I think it was 2 years ago. Wasn't it when we had like 12 inches or 14 inches or something significant, and it was like no problem. Just like ate it up.
Dude, this is where our life is now. Mikey's telling stories about snowblowers, and I'm jealous of the snowblower story. Like legitimately. Yeah. I'm like, so what kind of snowblower is it? Like how fast did it go? Like what? How loud is it? Is it cool? I mean, living in the city, I have a snowblower too. My dad got me like a little snowblower. This is really nice, but like I just like go like once down the front sidewalk, and it takes me like 3 times as long to get it out as it does to actually snowblow the part that I can snowblow in front of the house. I'm like,
so it's a battery operated.
Yeah,
like you make it sound like the bubbles come out of the top when you.
It does. It doesn't even have a little chute. The snow just kind of like dribbles off to the side. You have to kick it off to the side. It's made of Legos. My son made it. It's fine.
Little go-kart engine.
Yeah. But yeah,
okay.
So snow. So it's the snow. What about out west in the great Northwest?
Yeah, it's in Seattle.
Nothing too much. Oh, I do have a fun little quick story for you guys about that has to do with improv. Speaking of snow, our snow days out here now are when the internet goes down because, the kids, we're all in school, we're all virtual. And so when the internet goes down, it's like a snow day because it's like, all right, I guess we're done today. And so one of the classrooms.
Is John just unplugging it? The other is he like?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah. Got one of those old timey switches in the basement. It's like.
Yeah. Well, today was unusual because it was the district, like the actual school buildings went out. So some of the teachers work at the buildings. And so one of the teachers that I work in her classroom on Zoom, she Zooms from her classroom at the school. She comes in there and Zooms from there. So the whole school went down. So I had been in a breakout room with another student working, and I come back to the main classroom and she's not there. And I can tell immediately because there's like 30 kids at home, all without the mute on, like chattering, and yeah. And then someone goes, someone's like, Mrs. Karen's here. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I'm scrolling through the gallery and I'm like, where? Yeah. I was like, where is she? Where is the teacher? And they're like, I don't know. All of a sudden she's gone and we don't know where she went. So at this point, we have half an hour between that time and when they go to lunch. And I knew like they had to kind of stay in for a while to, just be on there until it was lunchtime. So I said, all right, I'll tell you what, let's stay on and let's play a game. And of course, I say this without having any clue what we're going to do, but I was just trying to keep them on.
Scrolling through files on your computer, like I'm going to share my screen.
It's like, what kind of game? Yeah. And all of a sudden,
let's do Excel spreadsheets, kids. All right. So listen, if you go to one,
I'm going to share my screen here.
Right. So I said, they were all like, yeah, let's play a game. So I immediately, all of a sudden I thought of a classic great improv game, 5 things. Where you give a category and then they have to name 5 things. And a couple kids said, oh, I know this game. And I was like, awesome. Really? So I started out with a category. I think I said, name 5 ridiculous names for your pet. And so, one kid did it, and then they had to give each other categories, which some of them were a little, one kid was like, name 5 Star Wars planets. And this little girl was like,
and their languages, and say it in their native tongue.
And I was like, in my head, I'm going, well, let's see, Endor, Tatooine. And then I was like, I don't even know if I could come up with that. I'm no Patton Oswalt. I can't come up with 5.
Yeah.
So we went around, and kids did great. They were having fun with it. There were a lot of them that were kind of like, I don't know. But the best part of this whole thing is that this one little girl that I work with quite a bit, she's very shy. She really struggles with math. She really struggles with reading and writing, which is why I'm working with her a lot. This is 4th grade, by the way. And she wanted to do it. And I said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what your category is. I want you to name 5 places you would never want to go on vacation. And she turned her camera on, which she rarely does, turns her camera on. She goes, 1, a cabin filled with centipedes. 2,
very specific, but accurate.
Yeah. 2, the sewer system. 3,
Not
the
a
dump.
Destination.
Yeah.
They're all true.
The dump.
You got an A+ so far.
Yeah. 4, a house filled with donkeys. And then she goes, 5, a beach that's covered in worms. And I was like,
I thought you were going to get to 5. Like you're going to be like house with donkeys and the centipedes. 5, Chicago. That's like Chicago in January.
Chicago in January.
That would have pulled. That would have been the
But I was so impressed. I'm like, wow, it was just kind of fun to see that part of her come out. That she was the quickest, and we're so creative, and she struggles in all these other areas, and she just went to town with those.
For us. I think Ron should draw for us a beach made of worms. Only.
Yes.
Could Ron draw that for us?
What if they're gummy worms?
Oh,
now
would that change her opinion?
Well, but the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't have sandy gummy worms.
But
right?
maybe but the beach is the worms, so there's no sand. The worms take the place of the sand.
That's true.
Miss Karen. Come on.
I know.
And the sewer system. The sewer system. I like the sewer
system with alligators.
Just like I would not. I've seen Shawshank. I do not want to.
Yes. Love it. Yeah, no, yeah, I was impressed. So that was a fun moment today.
I like how she had them lined up. She'd been thinking about it for a while. She's like,
she was like on fire. I was like, I couldn't even have come up with those that fast. So that was pretty impressive.
Wait, did the teacher? Wait, what eventually happened? Did you find out what happened to the teacher?
No, I mean that she couldn't get back on. They couldn't get back on all day today, and they're not quite sure.
Okay. That's why.
Yeah, they're not sure.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, everything was dead. So, so they're not even sure if there's going to be, what they're going to do in the morning. They don't have a read on when it's going to be back on. So we'll see.
Nice. Somebody needs to unplug and plug back in.
Control Alt Delete.
Reset the modems. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. My favorite story I read. I think I saw this on Instagram or Twitter or something like that. Was that someone claimed? I mean, it's probably a joke, but someone claimed that there's someone in their son or daughter's class renamed their name on the Zoom call as connecting to audio. ... And the kid doesn't ever have to talk. It just like sits there. It just says connecting to audio. Like it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
That is diabolically genius.
Yeah.
That is great.
I love that.
That's what Mikey did at the beginning of the show, pretending like he was mute.
I know, and I was the one that was having the most trouble.
It goes.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about flying today. Southwest, they've decided, no more emotional support animals.
God, Southwest.
You can't Todd, you have to leave your turtle at home.
I know. That's ridiculous. I was starting to ramp up for what was the most. I mean, I want to make the internet. So Well,
I don't think you can achieve this. So if people remember, was it several years ago, there was a peacock taken onto a flight. I believe it was on United. And its name was Dexter. And I say was because Dexter has passed since this time. My favorite part of the article was that Dexter leaves behind, or he's survived by his sisters, Ava and Jaja.
He's put a lot of time into the naming. Yeah. Ava and Jaja. Let's do the Gabor sisters and Dexter, the murderer. I assume is he named after the murderer? I don't know. Like the serial killer? Or is he named after? I don't know. I'm confused by it. But I like this guy, this guy's an artist, I think it's a woman that owns it, is an artist. And she was like, I'm doing this. I'm bringing this thing on this plane. And if I don't get on the plane, I'm gonna have some sweet story and some sweet pictures. And it's gonna be awesome. Poor.
I love the thought of trying to convince someone that you have an emotionally or an emotional support peacock.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, what are you gonna say, right? Like, that's stupid. Like, it's like, well, right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, when I walk through like the Home Depot or the Mariano's and people have these dogs, I mean, I'm pretty sure most of them are not like legitimate, like actual support animals. I mean, some of them might be, but I get this feeling that people just bring their German Shepherd through the freaking, Whole Foods and they don't care. And you're not going to walk up to them and be like,
are you really blind?
Yeah. Well, the blind, the seeing eye animals, probably you don't want to. That's pretty apparent. I'm like, all animals are emotional support animals. That's what they do. They're
true. That's a good point.
This peacock.
I'm just wondering. Like, my thought was, if I'm trying to think what emotional support I would need that would lead me to peacock. Like what? Beautiful. Like, I mean, what is
learn to strut?
Yeah. Well, if you had two other pets named Ava and Jaja, then I think we start there, and then we think about where you might need to go from there for emotional support. I want to know. So wait, what was the plan here? I never read into this. What was the plan? Did the peacock have a seat? That's a big animal. It's got a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't sit on top of the seat, right? I mean, it would bump the ceiling of the airplane.
What if it fans out?
How about it?
She wanted it to fan out. Don't lie to us. Don't lie to us, Dexter's mother. We know you wanted it to fan out. But I don't think. Did it get on the plane? Did it ever get on the plane? Did Dexter get on the plane? I assume it did.
I don't know, actually.
I'm just reading the story here, and it says in 2014, this is a little further down in the story. In 2014, a woman was escorted off a U.S. Airways flight when her pig, named Hobie, defecated and squealed before the plane took off.
No. What? A pig? I refuse to believe it.
A squealing, pooping pig. Sorry. Now you have to take the pig off because it squealed and pooped.
Yeah, right. We didn't. Right. When it was coming on, when it was a 60-pound pig, it was just sitting there snorting. We were fine with it. But now,
I feel like where we've come from in terms of news in the world, or in America specifically, from that time, that you could easily replace in that sentence a person with pig, like the person like squealed and pooped, like, and we'd all be like, yeah.
Sure. It doesn't surprise us, right?
Yeah. Assume that happens once a day in most major airports. I don't know. I did a search. I did a search for like the weirdest emotional support animals that were brought on planes. And there's a pretty good list. The peacock is the most outrageous, but like
what else is on that list? Ducks?
Many pigs, lot of horses, a lot of miniature horses. And
Oh my gosh.
What?
swear to God. Yeah, like miniature little little horses. They're the horses. There's several horses. And this guy is just transporting a horse for free. And that's the plan. A lot of turkeys.
How do you buy? You can't buy a seat for a miniature horse, right?
No, the horse
it's got to
is just
stand in the aisle, doesn't it?
No, it's just like it's like in front of their knees.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think you got to get the economy plus for the horse.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know that a miniature horse could fit.
Kangaroos, there's several kangaroos, I assume, in Australia. Yeah, lots of pigs. That's like a thing. And then in the same thing is like a woman. I know we're off topic. I very much apologize, but now I'm in this. A woman, here's the title. A woman flushed her hamster down a toilet after being told it couldn't go on the plane.
Oh no.
So she's like, you can't bring that on the plane. Well, I guess it's going in the toilet. It's like, wait
See
a
you,
second.
Sparky. It's been
Yeah.
real.
I mean, I don't agree with doing anything cruel to the animal, but you couldn't just let it walk across the street, let it go in a grassy field somewhere.
That is the worst plan B I have ever heard of in my life.
Right.
No, there was nothing in between, taking it on the plane and flushing it down. You couldn't have.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine the conversation before going leaving for the airport?
Yeah, the choices.
I'm taking the hamster. Why are you taking the hamster? Because it's my emotional support hamster. Well, what happens if they don't let you take it on the plane? Well, I'm gonna dump my emotional support hamster down the toilet.
Oh man. Yeah, I got a plan. It's like, no, she probably just said don't worry, I got a plan.
Yeah,
B.
right.
It's like, what is it? I don't want to talk about it. Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I'm going to put him in my pocket. Then I'll go on the plane.
Yeah. First of all, who caught you with the hamster? That thing is the size of a wallet. Just put it in a purse or something, you weirdo. Then, and if it doesn't work, you obviously bring it to the nearest macaroni grill and you just let it go in the restaurant. Obviously. And then if that doesn't work,
get a to-go box, put it in there.
Yeah. You flush down toilet, or you give it to the shoe shine guy. He could take care of it and take it back.
That's true. Then you pick it up when you come back, right?
Yeah. These are all better options. By the way, that thing did not. Sorry for the crude and crassness, but that thing didn't go down the first time. She was like, this is not working.
It's just making me think of the goldfish we talked about in a previous episode, where all of a sudden the hamster's going to show up
That's probably how that goldfish ended up in that pond. It was an emotional support goldfish. It was at LAX or whatever. It was probably in Baton Rouge, and then they couldn't get, so they flushed it and ended up in a local pond. That's obviously what happened. Turkeys, monkeys, a lot of monkeys, of course. Dexter's here on the list. Do you know the Dexter? The pictures of Dexter are great because Dexter's just on the handle of the luggage cart, just kind of going through,
hanging out.
Yeah. So hanging out.
This is new. This is kind of cool.
Yeah. When did they put a Starbucks here? That's weird.
I want to hear from you guys if you have any good ridiculous flying stories. I will start with one of my favorite experiences was how people the consummate thing where the seatbelt sign goes off and everybody around is click 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 click, or even before it goes off, as soon as you land, everyone's got their seatbelt off, and everyone's real anxious to get up and get their butt in the aisle and as my family always says, hurry up and wait, because you're getting up and then you're still gonna be standing there for
you're not responsible
10 minutes.
For opening the door, right, sir? You're gonna stand there until they open the door, right?
Someone's got to get their grand piano out of the overhead compartment before you can get off. So but I was in my 20s, and I think I was flying back and forth from here to Seattle to Chicago, and I was in a middle seat. There was a woman next to me who was probably close to my age at the time, and she was sitting in the window seat. And then there was a gentleman, like an older gentleman on the aisle seat. So we start to, they're like, we're beginning our descent. We start the descent. We have not even touched the ground at O'Hare. Like, we're still descending. And the woman in the window seat, who had been sleeping the whole time, nothing else happened the whole time. She immediately woke up, took her seatbelt off, gathered her things in her purse. Again, we're not on the ground. We're still descending. Gets up, straddles me to climb over me.
Are you like,
and then
okay.
Does the same thing to the older gentleman next to me to get up and stand in the aisle to wait for us to land.
Have you not been on a plane before, ma'am? You know the order works. It's like a very clear order. Like it's like a land, bell, seatbelt, you could get on.
Yeah, and then it generally goes aisle person, middle seat, then window. That window
straddle like two people.
Yeah. Was like Frogger. She was just like hopping up.
Frogger.
So, and I just remember it was when John and I had started dating, and I just remember telling him the story, and he was like, "Did you say something?" Because a lot of times I have no problem being like doing the, are you kidding me? Kind of thing, at least like the hands up, like, and I was like, I had no reaction because I didn't know. I'm like, I was in such shock that someone would like get up and like my own kids don't do that to me. Like, so yeah, that was one of my favorites because I just remember
stuff
thinking
in the bag. Yeah, you're like, I'm sure you're like, she's not going to get up, right? She's not going to. She's just.
Yeah, I'm like, she's just gathering her things,
and then you're like, the seatbelt, that shouldn't probably be off.
Yeah.
And now she's standing. Maybe she's stretching. I don't know. Maybe she's.
Yeah.
Nope, she's walking over. And by the time she's walking over you, you're like, oh, I assume you're like, oh, this is too late. What am I gonna say? I don't know. Like,
hey,
yeah.
And the best part is she faced us while she was. So I'm like,
went crotch to face,
right
front to face.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. So I mean, I'm
Looking
sure
to
the look
stand.
on my face was something like, like,
Are you serious?
did she just do that? Anyway.
no. Here's
So-
my
She was
question.
not
Did she,
going to
so she
wait.
gets up. Did someone tell her to get back in the seat, and then did she have to re-straddle you to get back in the seat? Like,
No, I think like by the time because she got up and she started getting stuff out of the overhead bin, they told her not to, but then we landed. And I think she got a little admonished by the flight attendant, but there was no recourse at that point.
What are they
She
going to
was
do? That's
standing in the aisle.
Anyone. They're like,
Yeah.
they're like,
I mean,
"Oh, you're
which
gonna take away
because
my
they don't
birthday?"
want someone to like freak out and like probably, but anyway.
It's
So-
like,
It sounds
There's
like that was an
mine.
indicator that she had done that before. She timed it so that she was getting, yelled at just as they were touching down. Oh, well, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
well, they said like,
By
like
the
I
way,
could
I
try,
beat
like one time I had to go to
off
the
the
like I
plane.
had to go to the bathroom so bad, and I mean I can usually hold it, and we were like kind of starting our descent, and it was like we were in our descent, and I'm like so much so, and if you know me, this is like I'm ringing I have to ring the bell, and the guy comes over, and I'm like, I have to tell you something. Like I have to go to the bathroom so bad, like I have to pee so bad that like I'm ringing the bell during a descent. And the guy said to me, to this point, I'm going off what you said. I'm like, is there any possibility like I get super quick, just like go to the bathroom, even if it's just like part of it? I just have to get over it. And he's like, well, like no one's gonna like tackle you or anything, but you're not supposed to. This is like, it's like, so this woman probably thought the same thing. Like, what, are they gonna tackle me? They're not gonna tackle me. I mean, they're just, what are they gonna, maybe probably just tell me to sit down and I won't, and then we'll be on the ground. Big deal. Like, won't be a big
Wait,
deal.
so did you go?
Oh yeah, I ran. And I felt so bad about it because I felt like I felt more guilty about it than anything, because I'm like, I know what these flight attendants must have to deal with like every single minute with these idiots. And I'm like, I'm really not trying to be part of the problem, but like I'm going to like pee on this floor like soon. And of course, the judgment, of course, is that of course I didn't see this coming for the 2-hour flight before this. Like I just like laying back, no problem. And then all of a sudden it hits me like you didn't have any foresight to.
Water? Sure. I'll have some. Oh, more water? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I have a Coke?
So I'm sure that's what the
You're
guy's
gonna give me
thinking.
the
Like
whole can of Coke. Wow, this is an amazing flight.
right. So you can have as much water as you can. It's like, I can. So yeah. Anyway, I know what she went through. I'm sorry for that woman.
That's all right.
Oh, man.
What about you guys? What about Mike? You had your Florida experience, but do you have some more? I'm sure you've traveled quite a bit.
Well, probably my traveling days, probably I did have this sort of noteworthy streak where I had to have probably like 6 or 8 trips in a row. So this spanned maybe a couple of months because I would travel once or twice, like every other week, a couple times a month, but like 6 or 8 trips where I would like see or hear someone puking in like somewhere, like mostly at an airport, like you go into an airport bathroom and you hear someone puking. You're like, this is fantastic. This is going to be a good day. I know it.
Yeah. It's like 6:15 a.m. You're like, awesome. This is how I want to kick it off.
And it was like, it was so bizarre because it could be 6:15 in the morning. It could be 3 in the afternoon. It could be a Saturday morning. It could be, Sunday night. I mean, seriously, like 6 or 8 trips in a row where I came home and Jen be like, how was your trip? I'm like, well, heard another guy puking.
I love how and it's audible. You're like, it's so bad. It's like,
oh
I can
yeah.
hear it.
I mean, this is like full body retch type of,
Did you hear any
nastiness
on a plane, like old timey, like right in the puke bag?
I don't. Yeah. Have you?
Yeah,
have
that's special.
that? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have heard that on a plane. Actually, I have heard that on a plane.
And then they need like an extra bag too. Like
yeah, like yeah. Well, sorry, not to jump on your story. Yeah, we had a rough landing one time in a storm at LaGuardia. If you know LaGuardia, like basically you got a helicopter into that place, just drop out of nowhere, and it was in a really bad storm, and it was so bad that it was like, pilots on the intercom saying like everyone needs to buckle up. It's going to be really bumpy. It's going to be bad, and he missed the descent twice. Had to pull out I don't know how far over the runway, but you could feel like those G forces like pulling out, circle back around, pulling out. And so that like up and down, in all the air pockets, like people were like, there were several people puking and a lot of screaming, like a lot of yelling, a lot of crying. Like,
oh my gosh.
And the only reason I didn't freak out, this is my funny story, by the way. No, the only reason I didn't freak out. The only reason I didn't freak out is because I happened to be sitting next to a pilot who was in pilot's gear, but looked like he was just getting a ride, like to New York. He's like, and he was when it started, he plugged into the thing. I could see him like probably listening to you can listen to the air traffic control channel, and he plugged in. Like when it all started, he was kind of like fiddling up, like plugged in, and he's kind of listening, and then he just took his book back out and just kind of sat there, and he didn't care. And I'm like, as long as he's calm, like I'm fine. Like, and I'm not enjoying this, but like I'm not gonna freak out. And he's reading his book, and I'm just kind of like one eye like looking at him like, oh god, if he freak. And he's listening to it the whole time, and I'm like, sure enough, you're okay. But like, yeah, there were like, it was really bad, and people were puking and screaming, like a lot of like, oh my god.
That's always terrifying on a plane, right? When you hear the like, whoa, oh my god, that kind of thing, or like high pitched screams. That's never good.
Yeah. So that was not a fun time. Anyway, it's not as fun as a peacock or the crotch to face straddle, but
if only we had our emotional support hamster for that, for those trips,
right.
we would have been good.
One time, oh wait, I'll tell you one more quick story. So one time, so we're on this flight, and it's the whole family. So it's my 2 kids and my wife and I. And a lot of times, since we're 4 of us, we split up, right? So if it's like a 3 and 3 flight, like 2 of us will sit on one side, 2 on the other. So my wife and I think my son are on the other side, and I kind of see, and it's like nighttime, I think, and I kind of see like some commotion going on, like in her, like they're one up and over. So I kind of see some like commotion, like, and I think maybe she's like talking with the person and like they're laughing or something, you know, like that. And I was watching this and I'm kind of go back to the movie, watching it. I'm like, what's going on? Watching it. And then like my son like turns, like looks at me, like kind of turns like looks back and I'm like, what's happening? Now 2 flight attendants come down. Now they're standing over it. So apparently what happened, which is what I think we all sort of figure one day might happen, is that my wife and the woman next to it got in a fight over the armrest. Over the armrest. She's in the middle seat, right? As we've all been, and you're like, whose armrest is this? Because you have that armrest and I should get this armrest. You don't get both armrests. Well, you don't get both armrests. It's like, well, my son doesn't use this one. So anyway, there was like apparently, according to my wife, there was a physical struggle where both of their forearms were like pushing against each other for a fair amount of time. Like it became like a tug of war, like a push of war, and it was like that. And I'm like, are you, she's telling me this. I'm like, what? She's like, you're physically like battling forearms. Like, she's like, oh yeah. Like we're both pushing as hard as we can, like bracing ourselves. I'm like, what kind of insanity is this? And this woman is like, will not back down. And Leanne had her like arm there first. And this woman's just like, and she's like, and Leanne's like, oh no. like the flight attendants had to like step in. And I think if my memory is correct, I think they like the woman moved, like, because Leanne was like, they were like talking about like, can someone move? And Leanne's like, I'm not moving. I'm still with my son. Let her move. And like so somebody in front of them or something was like, I'll switch with her. And like so they like switched seats to get her away.
Then, like promptly put both arms on the
Like, are you kidding me? Like I've always like imagined that could be a possibility, right? Like, well, what if this person, like, of course I'm not like gonna actually push someone's arm off, but Leanne's like, no, push the arm off. There was that battle.
Good for her. Yeah. I can't tell you how many flights I would get on where I would, sit down and then someone would come in, or like I'd sit, like I'd be getting to my seat and I see someone sitting there, sprawled out across both armrests. I'm like, oh, we're gonna do this.
I was here first.
This is how we're rolling today.
Yeah. Or you get the arm.
I just heard someone puke. Don't take my armrest, man.
Yeah, right. You don't know. I heard someone puke and I think someone's flushing a hamster down the toilet. It's been a bad morning. I just want to chill.
I think the closest to that I've come is the thing where, like, being a tall person, like having, foot space. And I usually don't put something in the overhead, but I bring a small enough bag that I can put my feet on my bag in front of me. But then sometimes the person, like, either in front of me will shove their bag under the seat. Yeah. And then I do that thing with my feet where I just like shove it right back. That and the, behind you too. Some people will shove it through so it's coming up under your feet and you're like, no, that's not how it works.
Right. There's very clear rules. Like, these rules. Like, this
is my space. Right. This is
You know what that happens to me all the time when those people take that first row, the bulkhead, and they don't have a under seat, and then they're trying to jam it under. I'm like, no, that's the payback you have for the big.
Right.
We all know this. Like the bulkhead, it's okay, it's pretty good, but you're gonna pay for it because you don't know. And they're like trying to jam the thing. I'm same thing, except I'm less forceful. I'm much more like, I kick it, like slowly kick it, like 1 inch every 15 minutes until it's in their lap.
Death by 100 cuts.
Right. That is forceful that way.
So true.
Oh God. It's the worst of humanity. It's the worst thing about humanity is air travel. Sorry, humanity.
Every rule and every, human responsibility just goes just gets left on the jetway, it's like, right. I mean, no one has any sense when they get on an airplane anymore. It's so ridiculous. You just
like, I'll do what I want. I'll bring my horse on here. I don't care. What are they gonna do? Worst I can do is try to jam it down a toilet. I'll do that if I have to. But
I'm gonna bring my horse and I'm gonna sit in the bulkhead row and I'm gonna stuff my horse under my seat.
Yeah. And until they tell me I can't, I'm gonna do it.
I'm picturing a miniature horse fighting for the armrest with me, and
Is this your
It's
horse?
like
Is this your
hoofed
horse?
Right on yeah.
Whose horse is this? I think the woman was Australian too, or maybe English. Probably English. You know English. They're always trying to take over everything. This is my. She probably put a flag in it. She's like, my armrest. I was here. It's like, okay, England. You know that's how you are. Yeah, I was like, are you really in a fight with the woman at the armrest? She's like, yeah. Like, that must have been the last half hour of that flight. Very interesting. I was really bored. I was watching like a, some like B flick on the, it might have been on the international flight too. And when you get to those international flights, like you're toward the end, you're like watching like some bad stuff, like some TV reruns of, Good Doctor or something.
Because there's no way there's like ever like 6 hours of good TV, in the pantheon of shows.
Right.
Like
it might have something to do with my attention span. It might, possibly. Nothing on. I watched 7 minutes of all 26 of these movies. I don't like any of them.
Well, I will say before I became a parent that my thing was always like, and it continued when they were born, was, listen, here's the deal. You can wear pajamas 5 days in a row. You can eat goldfish crackers for 4 hours. I don't care. But I'll tell you what, if you kick the seat of the person in front of you on the airplane,
I will.
It's going down. Like, that is rule number one. Like, I am not going to be the parent of the kid kicking the seat, because and I mean, there were times where they would barely nudge it, and I would be like,
Sir, I'm so sorry.
My girls
I'm so
were
sorry.
always like scared to even touch.
Sir,
like,
can I buy you a gin and tonic?
crazy-
I'm sorry that happened. It's like, it's
Like
fine.
that.
It's like, no, it's not. It's not fine.
Does not go in our house. Like,
Yeah. No, I'm see, we need more people like that. That would
Exactly. Yeah.
If we train this young generation, they'll be better. They won't be bringing horses and straddling people, maybe.
Yeah. I'm going to think of a horse next time I'm on a plane.
I'm going to send you that picture. You'll see.
Okay, please.
It'll fit. It'll fit. I think it'll fit. Maybe not. Karen, you and I are very tall. We have long legs. I don't think, maybe not for us, but I don't know.
Well,
economy
overhead.
plus.
Just shove it.
You got to
in.
go economy.
Yeah. Poor
can
man's
shove it.
first class. We could.
You could shove it in.
Yeah.
People shove the weird things up there. It's like
Yeah, I know.
surfboards. It's like, that does not, no. You can't bring just
mean-
because whatever you bring on has wheels doesn't mean it's a carry-on. That's like not a thing. Also, side note, I'm shocked by the amount of people who don't know how to use a roller bag. You do not push the roller bag in front of you. You carry behind you. These people are like, they're like hitting everything. I'm like, you can't steer it. We all know that. It's like trying to ride a radio flyer with it. It's bumpy. It's not gonna be good. Or banging it. Anyway, sorry.
I know this. Honestly, we might have to do a follow-up episode, because I think we've all done a lot of flying. We could probably cover a few more topics.
We're not
But I
done
do
venting
love-
by a long shot.
Yeah. Most of that was just venting. I like it.
As my friend Maria from college, that you both know, would say, the good thing is we're over it.
Obviously.
So, well, thanks you guys. This was fun, and we will do this again soon.
Awesome.
See you next
Thank
time.
you.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Take